So the next chapter in arrhythmias is tachycardias. Tachycardias are nothing but they represent increased heart rate more than 100 per minute. They are nothing but run of premature beat more than 3 or 6 consecutively. So they are extension of premature beat. So the premature beats are going to occur continuously without intervening sinus beat. It can be a tachycardia. So just like we classified premature beats, naturally because the tachycardias are extension of premature beats which are running continuously, once again the same classification can be applied to tachycardia, namely atrial tachycardia, junctional tachycardia, ventricular tachycardia. So just like premature beat, because they are extension of premature beat, they represent increased irritability of the heart. So this is what the tachycardia is about. So you have a premature beat here, and the premature beat is running continuously for more than 3 beats. So if it is running more than 3 beats, it forms a tachycardia. So it forms a tachycardia. So there are two main mechanisms of tachycardia. One is called the re-entry, a mechanism where because of the unidirectional block, a single impulse goes through a pathway round and round, producing very rapid circuit and resulting in a tachycardia. So this is a re-entry tachycardia. Most often happens in a normal hearts. So re-entry tachycardia is a classical example of AV nodal re-entry tachycardia or atrioventricular reciprocating tachycardia. So these are the very common re-entry tachycardias, most common tachycardias, and they most often occur in the presence, especially in the supraventricular tachycardia. They most often occur in normal hearts. Whereas the tachycardias can be due to abnormal firing of a single automatic focus or ectopic focus. A single ectopic focus either in the atrium or in the junction or the ventricle rapidly firing, a single focus rapidly firing is called automatic tachycardia. So most often these automatic tachycardias are primarily occur from a diseased hearts. Majority of time re-entry arrhythmias are most often in normal hearts. Automatic tachycardias are most often in diseased hearts. So automatic tachycardias will have long RP interval. I will tell you about the RP interval. The re-entry tachycardias will have short RP intervals. When you give a carotid sinus massage, automatic tachycardia, you can only control the heart rate, but not convert the arrhythmia into sinus rhythm. Whereas in a re-entry arrhythmia, most often carotid sinus massage will convert that into sinus rhythm. Once again, when there is an intermittent VPD, the tachycardia will be reset by the ventricular premature beat. The VPDs will terminate the re-entry tachycardias most of the times. The drugs like digoxin, verapamil or beta blockers will only reduce the heart rate and will not convert the arrhythmia to sinus rhythm in automatic tachycardia, because most of the time the drugs like adenosine, intravenous verapamil or amiodarone will restore sinus rhythm in a re-entry tachycardia. Automatic tachycardia most often occurs in diseased hearts, whereas re-entry tachycardia occur in normal hearts. So the other important long-term treatment like radiofrequency ablation, in automatic tachycardia you have less response or you have less favorable result from radiofrequency ablation. Here you will have a very excellent result or permanent remedy from tachycardia if it is due to re-entry tachycardia and you do radiofrequency ablation. It is very difficult to get normal sinus rhythm because most often this occurs in basically diseased hearts. So the basic disease has to be treated to get the sinus rhythm here. Easy to get sinus rhythm here because of basically structurally normal heart. So here automatic tachycardia is most often easy to diagnose, but re-entry tachycardia, you can diagnose re-entry, but the mechanism of re-entry, where the re-entry is happening, is little bit difficult in re-entry tachycardia. So these are the differences between automatic tachycardia and re-entry tachycardia, two main mechanisms of a tachycardia. So you can either classify tachycardia according to the site of origin. Sinus tachycardia, atrial tachycardia. Atrial tachycardia can be atrial tachycardia, atrial flutter and atrial fibrillation. Then junctional tachycardia, ventricular tachycardia, ventricular flutter and ventricular fibrillation. So this classification is according to the site of origin. But common classification is like this. The common classification or the working classification of tachycardia is whether the tachycardia has got narrow QRS or the tachycardia has got wide QRS. Narrow QRS tachycardia is defined as the QRS duration less than 0.12 second, White QRS tachycardia is described as a QRS more than 0.12 second. So this is a working classification. Although we can classify according to the site of origin, working classification is narrow QRS and wide QRS. First, we look at narrow QRS complex tachycardia. So what are the prerequisites to diagnose narrow QRS tachycardia? First is tachycardia, which means heart rate more than 100 per minute. Either atrial rate or ventricular rate more than 100 per minute is atrial tachycardia. Either the atrial rate or the ventricular rate or both more than 100 is tachycardia. Here the QRS is less than 0.12 second. So narrow QRS tachycardia can be divided into regular narrow QRS and irregular narrow QRS. Regular narrow QRS can be sinus tachycardia, atrioventricular re-entry tachycardia, AVNRT, or atrioventricular reciprocating tachycardia utilizing accessory pathway, atrial flutter, and atrial tachycardia. So these are the examples of regular narrow QRS complex tachycardia. Atrial flutter can come under regular tachycardia if the AV conduction is constant. If the AV conduction is variable, it can also come under irregular narrow QRS complex tachycardia. The most common cause of irregular narrow QRS complex tachycardia is atrial fibrillation. And of course, atrial flutter with a variable conduction of atrioventricular node. So, variable conduction of atrial tachycardia, which is very rare. But the most other important tachycardia in irregular narrow QRS complex tachycardia is a multifocal atrial tachycardia. So, the two important things you must know about narrow QRS irregular tachycardia is atrial fibrillation and multifocal atrial tachycardia. So, whereas you have to learn about all the 5 things here in a regular narrow QRS complex tachycardia.